विमानात्
सोऽश्वमन् दशमुखे न्यपद्विमानात्
सोऽसृक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
सोऽस्वर्गमन् दशमुखे न्यपद्विमानात्
सोऽसृक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
सोऽस्वर्गमन् दशमुखे न्यपद्विमानात्
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृतिवरिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति जनेषु कृतिवारिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृतिवरिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति जनेषु कृतिवारिक्तः
एवं क्षिपं धनुषि सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
एवं क्षिपं धनुषि सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
बाणं सवज्रम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
बाणं स वज्रम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
सोऽसृक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
सोऽस्वर्गमन् दशमुखे विमानात्
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृतिवरिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति जनेषु कृतिवारिक्तः
एवं क्षिपं धनुषि सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
एवं धनुषि सन्धितम् उत्ससर्ज
बाणं सवज्रम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
बाणं स वज्रं इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
सोऽसृक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
सोऽसर्गमन् दशमुखे न्यपद्विमानात्
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृतिवरिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति जने रिक्तः
Anybody would like to recite the verse?
एवं क्षिपान् धनुषि सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
एवं क्षिपं
धनुषि
धनुषि
सन्धितम्
सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
उत्ससर्ज
बाणं सवज्रमिव तद्हृदयां बिभेद
बाणं स
सवज्रम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
सोऽस्वर्गवमनदशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
सोऽसृक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
दाहेति जलपति जने सुकृत्वरिक्ता
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृतिवरिक्तः
एवं क्षिपं धनुषि सन्धितम् उत्ससर्ज
एवं क्षिपं धनुषि सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
बाणं सव्रजम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
बाणं सवज्रम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
सोऽसृक्वमन्दसमुखेन नापेतत् विमानात्
सोऽसृक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
दाहेति जल्पति जनसुकृतिरिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृतिवरिक्तः
एवं क्षिपं धनुषि सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
एवं क्षिपं धनुषि सन्धितमुत्ससर्ज
बाणं सवज्रमिव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
बाणं सवज्रम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद
सोऽसृग्वमनदशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
सोऽसृक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृतिवरिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति
जल्पति
जने
जनेषु
सुकृति
प्रीतिवरिक्तः
वरिक्तः. Anybody would like to recite?
Yeah. Evam ऋषिपान् धनुषि सन्धितम् उत्ससर्ज
एवं क्षिपन्धनुषि सन्धितम् उत्ससर्ज.
बाणं वज्रम् इव तद्धयदं बिभेद
बाणं सवज्रम् इव तद्हृदयं बिभेद.
सोऽशर्वमन् दशमुखैर्नयपद्विमानात्
सोऽश्रुक्वमन दशमुखे न्यपतद्विमानात्.
दाहेति जलपति जनेषु कृतिवरिक्तः
दाहेति जल्पति जने सुकृति वरिक्तः. Okay, thank you so much. We'll start with synonyms. Please repeat after me. Evam,
एवं
in this way.
in this
In
way
this way,
Shipan,
Shipan
Shipan,
chastising Ravana.
chastising Ravana
Ravana,
Dhanusi,
Dhanushi
on the bow.
on the
on the
bow
bow,
Sandhitam,
Sandhitam
fixed an arrow.
fixed an arrow
arrow,
Utsasarja,
Utsasarja
Raja,
release towards him.
released toward him
Banam,
Banam
Bana,
the arrow.
the arrow
arrow,
Saha,
Saha
that arrow.
that arrow
that
Vajram eva,
Vajram Eva
like a thunderbolt.
like a thunderbolt
Tad Rudayam,
Tat Hridayam
the heart of Ravana.
the heart of Ravana
Vibeda,
Viveda
pierced.
pierced
ears,
Saha,
Saha
he Ravana.
He Ravana
Ashruk,
Ashrak
blood.
blood
blood,
Vamana,
Vamana
vomiting.
vomiting
Dashamukhe,
Dashamukhe
through the 10 mouths.
through the 10 mouths
Nyapatad,
Nayatat
fell down.
fell down
Vimanat,
Vimanat
from his airplane.
from his airplane
Ha ha,
ha ha
alas,
alas
Allah,
what happened?
what happened
what happened?
Iti,
iti
Iti,
thus.
das
that
Jalpati,
jalpati
Jalpati,
roaring.
roaring
wrote,
Jane,
jane
and
when all the people present there.
when all the
when
people
all the
present
people
there
present there,
Sukritiva eva,
Shukriti Eva
Sukriti Eva,
like a pious man.
like a pious man
Riktaha,
Riktaha
when the result of his pious activities are finished.
when the results of his pious activities are finished.
Translation. After thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramachandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his aeroplane, just as a pious man falls to the earth from the heavenly planets, when the result of his pious activities are exhausted. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Bhagavad Gita 9.21, it is said, Shine Punne Mratyalokam Vishanti. When the result of their pious activities are exhausted, those who have enjoyed in the heavenly planets fall again to earth. The fruitive activities of this material world are such that whether one acts piously or impiously, one must remain within the material world according to different conditions. For neither pious or impious actions can release one from Maya's clutches of repeated birth and death. Somehow or other, Ravana was raised to an exalted position as the king of great kingdom with all material opulences. But because of his sinful act of kidnapping Mother Sita, all the result of his pious activities were destroyed. If one offend an exalted personality, especially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one certainly becomes most abominable, bereft of the result of pious activity. One must fall down like Ravana and other demons. It is therefore advised that one transcend both pious and impious activity and remain in the pure state of freedom from all designation. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. When one is fixed in devotional service, he is above the material platform. On the material platform, there are higher and lower positions. But when one is above the material platform, he is always fixed in spiritual position. Sagunan samatityatan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Ravana or those like him may be very powerful and opulent in this material world, but there is not a secure position because, after all, they are bound to the result of their karmas. Karmana daiva netrena. We should not forget that we are completely dependent on the laws of nature. Prakruteha kriyamanaani gunay karmani sarvasha ahankara vimdatma karta aham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of three modes of material nature, think himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the nature. Bhagavad Gita 3.27. One should not be proud of one's exalted position and act like Ravana, thinking oneself independent of material nature's law. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshuraunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatyadesh Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. So just to, the reason why I selected this verse is tomorrow is very auspicious day of Ramachandra Vijayotsav. It's some people call it as the Dasera or Vijayadashmi. So I thought it will be really nice if we all together can meditate on the pastimes of Lord Ramchandra and learn some lessons from this particular stories of Lord Rama killing Ravana. So we'll start with discussing purport. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has given reference of Bhagavad Gita 9.21 at the beginning. And just to set the context, this is a verse where Lord Ramachandra has punished Ravana by shooting an arrow like a thunderbolt in his heart. And Ravana is dead, he's fell down from his viman on the earth. So in this reference to Bhagavad Gita 9.21, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Shinne Punne Mratya Lokam Vishanti. Shinne means exhausted. Punya means the result of pious activity. Mratya Lokam means this earth. Mrityulok. Vishanti. Fall downs. So when the result of their pious activities are exhausted, those who have enjoyed in the heavenly planets fall again to the earth. This is the reference Srila Prabhupada has given from Bhagavad Gita. We're going to quickly see, how this perfectly fits Ravana's situation. Like what kind of pious activities he performed and what kind of impious activities is performed and what happened finally as a result of that. I'm going to share a slide. Let me know if you don't see it. Can you see my slide?
No, Mataji. You may. I think you need to stop this share, then
Okay.
share again. Yeah. Now share the PPT.
So Prabhu, can I share both application at the same time?
Okay. I'm not sure, Mataji.
Okay. Can I share my screen? Maybe screen share will help actually.
Yeah, do that. Not the
Yep.
application. Do the. Yeah.
Right. Yep. I have done a screen share. There's no option to select here. Okay. Can you see now my PowerPoint slide?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. So the result of pious activity, maybe just before they start with the result, just to give a little background about Ravana. Ravana was a son of great sage Visrava. He was raised as a Brahmana because Visrava was a great sage. So he taught all the Brahmanas rules, regulation, Vedas to Ravana. So Ravana was raised as a great Brahmana, but he had a strong influence of his mother's side too. His mother was Kaikasi. She was a daughter of demon Sumali. And he had a great influence of his mother on his life too. So that's why, he did lot of pious activities in his life, which it's not possible for a, normal person to do it. But he did all those activity in the result of envy. And just to add a little bit, the sage Visrava, he had two wives. His first wife was a daughter of sage Bharadwaj. And from that first wife, he had a son who's the god of wealth, Kuvera. So Kuvera was basically Ravana's half brother. And Ravana was always jealous of him. His mother basically put that envy in his heart since he's a child. And she always, like in a competitive mode, you need to be more opulent. You need to have a more power than him. So basically, when once Kuvera comes to see his father Visrava, and his mother reminds Ravana, you need to be more opulent than Kuvera. And in that mood of envy of his brother Kuvera and a greed for more and more power, Ravana engaged himself in a severe austerity for 10,000 years. He did not eat any food for 10,000 years. And at the end of each 1,000 year, he offered one of his head in the fire as oblation. And as we know, the moment he cut his one head, the another head automatically appeared. But Lord Brahma appeared after 10,000 years in front of Ravana. And Ravana asked the famous thing, all Rakshasas, they need it basically. Same like Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is also asked for the immortality. So Ravana also asked, the first thing is, I want to be immortal. I want to live forever so that no one can kill me and I can do basically whatever I want. But Lord Brahma doesn't have that power to grant, immortality to Ravana. So then basically Ravana also did the same thing. He did some tricks and, okay. Then Lord Brahma, he basically granted him, Ravana, immunity from being seen by any creature other than man or lesser animal. And Ravana was so powerful, he had no disregard for man and animals like monkeys and all. He never thought any man or a monkey can come and conquer him or any man can kill him. So he never bothered about that condition in that bone, and he was very happy. So these are some of the pious activity Ravana created. Ravana performed. So what happened as a result of this pious activity which is performed with some desire to have more greed and power, he was exalted to a position, material position. He became a king of Lanka. Lanka is like a gold made from a gold. So he had all material opulent situations. He was enjoying the life of heaven. So that's why Prabhupada is saying in here, maybe he did pious activity and he was enjoying the life of heavenly planet in Lanka. Now we are going to quickly see some of the impious activity which Ravana did. Ravana did a lot of impious activity, but we'll just focus on some of them. So we know Nala Kuvera. Nala Kuvera is the son of Kuvera from the story of, Damodar Leela. So Nala Kuvera was a husband of celestial Apsara Rambha. So in relationship, if we see that Rambha becomes Ravana's daughter-in-law. So once Ravana was in Swargaloka, he saw a beautiful celestial Apsara Rambha. And naturally, by his nature, he had a very lusty desire for Rambha. And he started approaching her. Even Rambha opposed him. Rambha reminded him of this relationship. She explained him, I'm a married woman. But by his nature, he violated her forcefully. Rambha then went to her husband Kuvera. Initially, he got really angry. But when he realized this conduct was done by Ravana, he basically realized that I cannot fight against Ravana because his father was already defeated by Ravana. So, but he, at least in that anger, he gave a curse to Ravana. So this evil Rakshasa has violated a celestial lady. If he ever again rep another maiden, he will immediately fall dead. Also, to add to this, Nalakuvera curse was also reinforced by the words of Brahma himself. Lord Brahma said that if Ravana ever again violates a woman, his life will end immediately. So these are the some curse he collected in his life because of his impious activity. The next story is of Vedavati. Now, I'm sure not all of them knows about Vedavati, but Vedavati was daughter of sage Kushadvaj. She was very beautiful. She was born as an incarnation of holy Vedas. She was beautiful and learned. Lord of demigods, celestial being, asked her hand in a marriage to her father. But Vedavati, she only wanted to marry Lord Vishnu. So once she was meditating in the forest to have Lord Vishnu as her husband, Ravana was passing from the sky, in his Pushpak Viman. And he saw Vedavati sitting in a forest alone and nobody was around. So again, the lusty desire by his nature, he got attracted to Vedavati. He approached Vedavati. Vedavati, she very clearly told him, go away. I'm meditating here. I want to have only Lord Vishnu as a husband. And as we all know, Ravana doesn't have any respect for Lord Vishnu. And that more like, okay, agitated him. And he said, okay, he still tried to force Vedavati. And in that thing, he grabbed her hand. He grabbed her hairs, basically. So Vedavati, by power of her mystic yoga, she cut through her hairs and she got really angry. And she basically cursed here Ravana. She said that, "O evil one, I shall now quit this body, defiled by your touch. As I have been insulted by you, I shall take birth again, only for your destruction." Appearing from the earth, I shall become the pious daughter of virtuous man. You and your entire race will be destroyed as a result of that birth. So this is the curse of Vedavati. So as we know, Prabhupada in lot of his lectures, Srila Prabhupada is always saying that women in the society, they should be always be protected. When before marriage, the father protects the woman, their daughter basically. After marriage, it's the responsibility of husband to protect the woman. If the husband passes away, it's the responsibility of son to protect the woman. But if you see that the disqualification of Ravana is he doesn't even care about the relationship. He doesn't even care about anything. He was acting independently against the material nature. He was doing what he wanted and not exploiting women in the society basically. And we all know the most abominable act which Ravana committed is kidnapping Mother Sita. We all know that story, so I'm not going to go more into that. But what happened? I'm going back to the verse. So, what happened as a result of all this pious activity, all this impious activity Ravana performed, the curses that he received? The result of all pious activity which he accumulated by doing the austerities, boons, penances, and all, that got exhausted. And the most sinful, abominable act which is created is like kidnapping Mother Sita. That's one of his biggest mistake in his life. And this mistake was so big, Lord himself came and punished Ravana. Basically, he killed by his own hand to Ravana to give punishment for this activity. So when Lord Rama shoot his arrow in Ravana's heart, Ravana fell down from his Pushpak Viman. Ravana was fighting from his Pushpak Viman, so he fell down on the earth. Similar to someone falls down from the heavenly planet once their pious activities are exhausted. So very beautiful, correlations between Srila Prabhupada has given like a reference to Bhagavad Gita, but how that's if Bhagavad Gita works in a context of Ramayana also. So it's very beautiful that. So the next thing, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that about, pious and impious activity. So the conditioned living being in this material world, they perform pious and impious activities. And the most important thing is they're attached to the result of those pious activities. They perform the activities, but they have attachment. They have some desire in their mind. Okay, I'm doing this activity because I want this. So it may be, even in my own example, I can give some example. Like before I become Krishna conscious, I'm from India, Maharashtra, Mumbai place. And in Mumbai, everyone, most of the people follows the god Ganesha. Ganesha is the famous demigod in Mumbai region. So in my case, I have done so many some pious activities just to get something. Like, okay, I want a good job. So I visited, there's one famous temple in Mumbai of Siddhi Vinayak Ganesha. And then there's a huge line on that temple. Like sometimes to take the darshan, it will take at least 5-6 hours. I have done like 21 Tuesdays like that to get maybe a good job, to make maybe a good grade. But if you will see that when we are performing this pious or impious activity, example of impious activity, maybe someone is stealing, lying, just to get some more money and enjoy the sense gratifications. So when anyone is performing this kind of activities, they are mainly centered around themselves. They are not centered around Krishna. They are not thinking about the Krishna. They are not thinking about anything else. So what happens when person is doing this kind of pious and impious activities? They remain in the material world. They cannot get out of this cycle of birth and death. So this is the problem of material world. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he gave us the example of Ravana. What happened in case of Ravana? And then now he's going towards, what is the problem? Problem he wants to show in this purport. So this is the problem of the material world. And most of the people in this world perform these activities. So neither pious and impious actions can release us from the mayas of clutches. So this is the problem Srila Prabhupada has defined. Now, in the next part of the verse, Srila Prabhupada is giving us what is the solution to this problem. So, therefore, okay. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying that it is therefore advised that one transcends both pious and impious activities and remain in the pure state of freedom from all designations. This is a very important line. I'm going to read one more time. It is therefore advised that one transcends both pious and impious activities and remain in the pure state of freedom from all designations. So please note that Prabhupada is saying you transcend the pious and impious activity, but at the same time remain in that state. It's not like we attend that once and we again fall down, then there is no use of it. And Prabhupada has also given reference to Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 14. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. Sarvapadi is like sarva means all, upadi means designation. One who is free from all material designation. Vinirmuktam, free from all material designation. Tat paratvena. Tat paratvena is basically the sole purpose of that person, life of that person is serving Krishna, Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Nirmalam. Nirmalam means uncontaminated. Such a person is uncontaminated from the result of fruitive activities. So in this line and then in the reference to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada is trying to explain us, in order to get out of this problem, in order to get out of the clutches of Maya, what we need to do, we need to transcend to both pious and impious activities. And we have to remain in that pure state. And this is the solution Prabhupada has given to that problem. And when you say what is material designation, material designations are basically, in a lot of Prabhupada lectures, Prabhupada gives examples of, a lot of people say, I am Indian, I'm American, I'm Japanese. So these are a material designation. Or sometime in a practical, work-like context, some people think, okay, I'm a manager, I'm a VP, I'm a director. So these are all material designation. In a material world, we have like a lower and higher positions, right? At work, we have some people working at a very entry level, associates level. Then some people working managers, some people are directors. So we have a lower and higher positions in material world. But once we transcend, there's only one position. There is only spiritual position, basically. There is no lower and higher position like material world. So Prabhupada gave us a problem here. So see how the verse is flowing. Prabhupada first, just to repeat, he gave us an example of Ravana. Then he defined the problem of this material world. In the third part, Srila Prabhupada is now giving us solution. But one may think, transcend. What is transcend? How I will transcend? It's not easy, right? That it's not easy to transcend the three modes of material nature. Now, Prabhupada is so merciful on all of us, like a fallen soul. He is giving us simple process now, like how we will implement this, how we will try this, and how we will progress eventually. So he is giving us example of Sagunan Samatityatan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Sa means hey, Gunan means, the three modes of material nature. Samatityatan means basically transcending. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. One becomes basically one achieves a platform of Brahman. So this is the reference Srila Prabhupada has given from, Bhagavad Gita chapter 14.26. And in this verse, what Srila Prabhupada is saying, one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. This is a chapter, like again I'm repeating, this is a Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, three modes of material nature. And in this word, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is answering Arjuna's question, what is a means of attending to the transcendental positions? So very careful, in this verse, what Prabhupada is saying, one who attends, one who is completely fixed in pure devotional service to the Lord. So we have to completely engage in activities for Krishna. The second important point he's saying is unfailing in all circumstances, unfailing in all circumstances. So that is also very important. It's not like, we engage in full devotional service on one day and next day we have something else, some problem in the family. And because it's a material world, there's always ups and downs. And then we forget Krishna and we just focus on our problems. No, the determination is required here. We need to have a discipline in our life. And just to describe a little bit more on this, I'm going to check on time. Okay. Just to describe more on this, how in that part for 14.26, Srila Prabhupada has given some detailed reference, how we perform these activities. So what Srila Prabhupada is saying, in a material world, instead of engaging our consciousness in a materialistic activity, we need to transfer that consciousness into Krishna activity. And performing activities for Krishna, acting for Krishna always, is nothing but bhakti yoga. And again, being so merciful, Prabhupada has given a simple way of performing bhakti yoga. We don't have to go in a forest, do meditation for 10,000 years, or take renunciation, sannyas, leave the family. We can stay where we are. If we are in Grihastha, we can stay there. If we are in Brahmachari, we can stay there and perform this simple devotional service, bhakti yoga. And there are some simple tools Prabhupada has given us. The most important thing is bhajan kriya, chanting of holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in chanting of holy name, it's most important thing in our bhakti yoga. The sadhakas who are initiated, they're at advanced level, they chant 16 rounds every day. I will also request, the sadhakas who are starting their journey in the bhakti yoga process, they should start chanting few rounds every day. And again, unfailing determination is very, very required. We need to have a discipline in our life. It's hard to otherwise stay on a track. It's hard to do everything always properly. That's why we need to discipline. We need to sleep early. We need to get up early and then chant our rounds. It's hard. I had my own struggle in my life. For a long time, it was hard for me to get up in the morning and chant my rounds. But once you start doing it, you think it's very easy. It's not difficult. Anyway, you will be, instead of getting up in the morning, you will be chanting your round in the night or evening sometime. So you have to do that since that's your vow. But if you do that in the morning, you get so much energy. You feel so fresh, and then you can start with your day, with your office work or your housework. So it gives us a lot of energy if we are, and then even the feeling that we get. Okay, I have completed my chant rounds in the morning with a full attention, which is also hard sometimes. But we have to always keep trying, bringing our mind back and focusing on the chanting. So chanting is the main important thing. And then following the 4 regulative principles. Can anybody wants to help with the 4 regulative principles? Okay.
No
So-
meditating, no meditating, no bad habits,
Gambling.
drinking and all, no illegal sex, and
Thank you, Mataji. So no meat eating.
intoxication.
Right. Yep. So there are 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. So these are basically the 4 pillars of life. This helps you to make your life clean. You come to the more pure and clean state. The next thing we need to do is eat prasadam. Prasadam always help us to improve our consciousness, because we are eating the food which is offered to Krishna. So it becomes a prasadam, and then when you eat that, your consciousness becomes more pure. The third thing we can do is read Srila Prabhupada books. Srila Prabhupada has done, a lot of effort to write these books. So we all have to try to read Srila Prabhupada books no matter how busy we are. At least, maybe few minutes in a day, we should decide that, okay, this is how am I going to be scheduled. I don't have time during a day, but in the night, I'll at least read for a few minutes. So read Srila Prabhupada books. Perform, devotional service in the temple. You can do various service in the temple, cleaning, helping with the cooking, preaching, distributing Srila Prabhupada books. So this is very a simple process of bhakti yoga. We don't have to do anything different. And you can start with what you can initially, and slowly, as you get more taste of, Krishna bhakti, you will automatically start engaging yourself more and more in this process. So going forward, so just to summarize so far what we have covered, Srila Prabhupada defined the problem first in case of by giving the example of Ravana. Then he said, the problem of material world, people perform pious and impious activities, and they're attached to those results, and they stay, cycle of birth and death. He gave us solution how we can resolve this problem. And he also gave us a process, a simple process of performing bhakti yoga. Now, towards the end, Srila Prabhupada is giving us a message here, a very wonderful message. And maybe we can say, it's a warning message for all of us. So, there is a reference from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 27. Prakruteha kriyamanani gunaya karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma karta aham iti manyate. So the bewildered soul, under the influence of three modes of material nature, think himself the doers of the activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. So we should always remember that, if we get any exalted position in this material life, so you are maybe manager today, you become a senior manager, you become a director, or if you're running a business, your business start doing really good, you start earning more money, you have more people reporting in your organization. You should not get puffed up because of that. And that's what happened with Ravana. With giving example of Ravana, Srila Prabhupada is telling us, don't get puffed up of your material situation, because that situation is not secure. It's not Shashvatam. The whole material world is Ashashvatam. So you think that you have a business today, you're earning millions of dollars, but tomorrow something can happen. Even in I can give you some example of my own. So my boss was making some plan maybe a month back of making some changes in the group and all, moving us in a different area so that we get different exposure and all. And just last week, he was telling us like there are some reorganization happening. And in my group, some people got affected. So it is so unfortunate, it's like there's no Shashwat in this world. Like with the COVID, a lot of people's jobs are getting impacted and all. Nobody thought, there will be a COVID and there will be all this situation. So nothing is Shashwat in this material world. It's Dukhalaya. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us warning, don't get puffed up when you have some material opulences. And don't start thinking like a Ravana, I am the doer. Under the influence of his false ego, what Ravana started doing, he started doing anything he wanted basically. He started exploiting the women. He didn't think about, his relationship, what he needs to do. Everyone gave him advice. Even his family member gave him advice. Vibhishan, his own brother, Kumbhakarna, his brother, his own wife, who's like a well-wisher of him, she was praying for his long life always, being the chaste woman. She also advised him, please don't commit this sinful activity. Surrender to Ram. But he did not listen to anyone because he was so attached to Mother Sita, and he had such a false ego. He thought he can do anything. He didn't even think for a moment before committing such a sinful act. He didn't even thought what will be my result of these actions. I'm kidnapping Mother Sita, who is a pleasure potency of Lord Ramachandra. Like usually, when we are doing something, as a normal person, we will think, if I do this, in your brain, at least you're thinking, if I say this, even if, for example, you're talking to someone more respected, you're talking to your boss, or you're talking to senior Vaishnava devotees, you will at least, you're talking to maybe your Guru Maharaj, you will at least think, some in your mind before saying or committing any activity. But Ravana was so sinful, he didn't even think of, what will happen if I commit this mistake. So this is one of the disqualification of Ravana. He started doing what he want. He thought he is a doer, but under the influence of false ego, he completely forgot that ultimately Krishna, who is a Rishikesh, is the senses of all the master. He is the controller. He forgot that. And he started acting like independent. He thought, okay, I am the boss. Now I'm immortal. I can, defeat the demigods. I am more powerful. I have a Pushpak Vinan, and I have a Lanka as a kingdom. And he started doing all sinful activities. In the previous chapter of this, in the previous verse of this chapter, Lord Rama has, indicated some, these are the disqualification of Ravana, because, he was not thinking what he is doing, and he just started behaving the way he want. So I have concluded the verse, but there are some lessons, I have collected from the lecture of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. And I really like those lessons. And I thought it will be good if I can share with all of you. And just to conclude today's verse, we can just quickly discuss this. Once I'm done with this, I'll quickly summarize the verse, and then we can we can see if anybody have any question or any comments anybody would like to add. So just a lesson learned from this pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. All of us have Ravana in our heart. We all know that sometimes we get angry, sometimes we have envy in our heart, we have a pride, lust, greed, illusion. We also start thinking, okay, I'm doing this at home. Sometimes I think, okay, I only have to do everything always, right? So I'm thinking like I'm the doer, but no, we have a Ravana in our heart. And then Prabhupada has given us some weapon, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us some weapon, how we will destroy the Ravanas in our heart. It's not easy, it's a process, it's a journey, it takes time, but we have to try that. As a devotee, we give so much, so we get so many warnings. Like lot of, the senior devotees, the other devotees, they come and they give you warning. You have to be serious in your devotional life. You have to chant your round in the morning. You have to be more attentive. You have to at least try to read Srila Prabhupada books every day. So we get so many warning. Don't do this. Engage more with the devotees. So we get so many warnings. Similarly, like how Ravana received the warnings and he ignored all those warnings. So similarly, we act like Ravana a lot of time. We take those warnings like, oh, anyways, it's a warning, right? We listen from one ears and we take it out from other ears. So that's why, we also have, at least I have, I cannot speak with anyone. I have that Ravana in my heart, and that needs to be purified. Tomorrow is the day of Rama Vijaya Dasera or Vijayadashmi, some people tell. On this day, we all together, we should meditate and commit ourselves to the following Lord Rama, Krishna. By taking shelter of Ram, by liberating ourselves from this Ravana within our heart, we have to meditate, we have to commit to Lord Ram tomorrow. It's like, okay, please give us a shelter by the name, how we can kill this Ravana in our heart. So Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have given us weapon in this age of Kali to kill Ravana in our heart. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always saying, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Kalayu naste eva naste, eva naste gatiranyatha. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, a weapon here to kill Ravana in our heart. So we have to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra all the time sincerely with attention. We need to simply chant the holy name sincerely without any motive, without any ulterior motive, and serve sincerely without any desire. Like we should not do service to Krishna with some desire. Okay, I want to do this because I want this problem needs to be solved. Krishna will give us what we need. We don't need to ask him. He will give us what we need in our situation. He's taking care of whole world. He's a Jagannath, right? So he will give us what we need. So in this spirit of beautiful pastime, and we should always engage in hearing Lord pastimes, and then real victory will be ours. So we just need to follow Srila Prabhupada and our Acharya's guidance. And it is guaranteed that we will be able to kill the Ravana in our heart. So just to summarize, the lecture, today's purport, the 9.10.23. So in this beginning, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, he gave us example of Ravana, how Ravana performed pious and impious activity. And what was the result of that? He basically fell down. He was basically punished by Lord Ramachandra. Then Srila Prabhupada explained the practical problem in this material world. We engage ourselves in a pious and impious activity. And that's why we remain in the material world. But Srila Prabhupada is so concerned about all the living beings. He's giving us solution. He's telling us, we need to transcend both pious and impious activity. And we have to remain with a strong determination, unfailing in any circumstances. We have to remain in that pure state. And then he very nicely, he has laid out the Bhakti Yoga process for us, like simply with staying in our current situation, taking care of the family, just by bringing Krishna in the center of our life, just doing all the activities around him, thinking that these are my duties Krishna has given me. I'm going to perform those as my duty, but not attaching to the result, leaving the result on Krishna. We can simply perform the Bhakti Yoga activities. And towards the end, the important point Prabhupada is giving us, he's giving us warning. Don't anytime get puffed up. Don't think that you are independent, you are doer. You are basically under the control of Krishna. Anything you do bad, it's going to come to you. It's not something you are the controller. So very wonderful purport given by Srila Prabhupada here. So is anybody have any comment or question, anything you would like to add? I know I exceeded, I only have 5 minutes. But if anybody would like to add anything, please go ahead.
Very nice summary, Vrajnandini. I'm sorry I joined late, but what I heard was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Do you want to add anything, Mataji?
No,
if I have
what
missed
you
anything, I
said
have done any
was- what you
mistake,
said was
you can
perfect.
correct me.
We all have Ravanas in our heart. Don't get puffed up. Depend on the holy name. Oh,
Right.
wonderful.
I know. That's the only thing we have in our hand, right?
Mhm.
Shiva Mataji, Pari Prabhu, do you want to add anything?
It was a very excellent class. Thank you very much. What did you say was the weapon for killing the Ravana in the heart? Did you? say that?
Harinam.
Yeah.
Harinam. I'm saying Harinam. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he gave us.
Uh-huh. Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, so wonderful class. I really got carried away. listening to your
Really?
class.
Thank you, Prabhu, for encouraging me. I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing this.
I was envisioning how many Ravanas are sitting inside my heart. And how to kill them.
So,
How
Prabhuji,
many
I was
lakhs and
thinking
crores
also
of
too.
Harinams are required for killing all the Ravanas.
Right,
But
right. It's very interesting.
I want to quickly comment on one thing that you said. It was very interesting. And so you talked about how to basically we have to transcend both the pious and impious activities and the results of all pious and impious activities. And that is actually very true. That theme also comes in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Twice actually it comes. First it comes in the verse 9.1 itself, where Krishna says Jnana Vigyan Sahitam Yagyatva Mokshite Shubhat. So that word Ashubhat, Chakravarti Pad actually mentions that this Ashubhat is not just pious activities, both, no, not impious activities, it is both pious and impious, because both keeps us attached to the material world. So we have to transcend both the pious and impious. And then again, that theme comes later, where Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, just give it to me. You offer it to me. And then after that, actually, the verse after that, he makes an interesting point. 9.28 is that verse, I believe, where he says, Shubhashubh falareva mokshase karma bandhanai sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mamupashyasi. So he says it very clearly. Shubh ashubh falarevam. Shubh is pious and ashubh is impious. So you will be freed from the reactions of both the pious and impious activities. And then you will come back to me. Mamupashyasi is basically, I think he says vimukto mamupashyasi. Mukto means liberation. Vimukto is a special kind of liberation. And that special liberation is basically, Acharya explained that you will become my associate. So what you said kinds of matches up with what Krishna also says in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.
Right. No, it's really wonderful, actually. Wow, how Prabhupada, and even how, Prabhupada, right, each purport, right? He defines the problems, then he kindly gives us the solution, and then he lays out, how you should implement that solution. Like when I was reading this purport and trying to work on the, the lecture, I was thinking like Prabhupada is giving us everything in his book. We just need to read it carefully and understand it, the message.
Very true, Mother. And we have to actually catch that also, what Prabhupada is saying. Sometimes Prabhupada says something, but because of our, at least in my case, I don't catch it immediately. After like someone mentions that thing, then I catch it. Oh yeah, this is what Prabhupada says and this is what actually means. So
no, it's the same thing with me. Madhukanta basically told me, you have to read purport at least 100 times. Then you will understand, what you have to do. So he basically told me like, purport is your shelter. Just read purport. Don't worry about any focus anywhere else. And that's what I did. But I discussed with him, and he also raised few points, and that did help me. So you are true, it's not easy. Like we are always not like distracted when we are reading. There's so many things going on simultaneously. So reading purport very carefully, it helps us. It's wonderful what Prabhupada does in his book. So I'll request everyone. Is like the Kartik month is starting soon. The month of Damodar. It's very auspicious time. If you don't have Srimad Bhagavatam at your home, please invite Srimad Bhagavatam your home in the month of Kartik, the month of Radharani. Radharani parrot, Sukadev Goswami, he recited this Srimad Bhagavatam. So you should start, if you're not doing currently, maybe this is a very beautiful time. You should, auspicious time, you should bring Srimad Bhagavatam at your home and start reading Srila Prabhupada books. Srila Prabhupada has taken a lot of efforts. He basically whole night he used to translate his book. Even on his deathbed, he was translating his book. So the efforts that he has done just for us, so that we can easily sit at the comfort of our home and read these books. So please, if you don't have, I urge you to go think about buying Srimad Bhagavatam and start reading that in the month of Damodar.
Vrajnandini, high five.
High five.
Sadhu.
Okay. So is anybody have any questions, or we're ready to end? Anybody would like to add anything? Are we good? Jiva Mataji, do you want to add anything?
I do like the way Prabhupada simplifies being detached from pious and impious activities by saying, dry stool, wet stool, it's all stool.
Right.
We should give it up, It all binds us. It'll bind us, whichever pious, impious. It just but thank you very much. I could listen to you all day.
So follow-up question on that, Jiva. So we should not aspire to even do pious activities. Is that what you're saying?
Well, pious is better than impious, but yes, we should aspire to transcend.
Yeah, we should basically perform the activity. So in case of, Krishna devotional life, pious activities, okay, we can start reading Srila Prabhupada books. We can chant all over 16 round, with full attention.
But
So
that's
those are
not
the,
pious activities, is it?
sorry,
That's
No.
transcendental.
Right,
but
exactly.
then we can start doing those activities basically in the context of Krishna. Yeah, I know the pious activities is more like,
Yeah, pious
you're
activities
performing
could be
for the
like following,
demigods.
reading, doing something for the demigods,
Right. Right. Yeah.
those could be pious activities,
Right. But
but
even if,
reading, yeah, go ahead.
right. So, what Krishna, basically what Prabhupada is saying is we keep our Krishna happy. If we focus on Krishna, all the demigods will get pleased, right? Because they
Exactly, the
only
root of
gets
the tree.
energy.
Yeah,
So we don't have to worry about the pious activities or anything, whatever the devotional service that we are doing for Krishna,
right,
whatever we can do in this life. So those are
right.
the good activities for us, basically.
Yeah, during Navratri, like some people are so much into Durga and they focus completely
Right.
on Durga. I mean, that's a
Right.
pious activity, but it
Right.
is not
Yeah.
completely transcendental,
Right. My mother also does that. She fasts for 9 days with the fruits only. And I was
Right,
telling her,
right.
but it's hard to change your own family.
Exactly. And some people chant the Lalita Sahasranam every single day, and all that,
Right. Yeah. But Prabhupada has given a simple way. We don't have to get distracted. We just focus on Krishna, the Lord Ram, and then just chant our rounds and follow the simple process. Yeah. Okay, I know we have exceeded the time. I will conclude the class. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya cha, patitanam
Yo
pavanebhyo,
Vaishnavi
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Antakoti Vaishnavanda ki
Vrinda
jai.
ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you so much.